Tony P. from Youngstown.
I don't know if Bob's as nervous as I am, but I heard a lady over at Tuesday night group one time say when she stands up, her thoughts sit down, so I don't know. This is my 16th lead, including I lead up Woodside every second week. And I don't know at any time if I'm going to go into a blackout, pass out, or stop. I don't know. I had a year's sobriety this time and made up my mind that I was never going to lead a meeting. And John Brackett caught me over the clinic one day, and I didn't have time to think, and he says, give him 10, give him 10. And they got 10. I stood up, and I couldn't think of anything and quit. But after that, I accept most of the chances I get to lead. Because we in AA are responsible. I don't know, whatever responsibility I can accept, I have to accept. I have a simple rule I try to follow when I lead. Be honest, be serious, and keep your eyes on the floor. But I don't know where to begin. I guess I could begin with my pre-drinking days. Again, I don't have any continuity. I try not to think about what I'm going to say, because it just might jump around. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, my dad was an alcoholic, and I had all the social problems, psychological problems that come along with that. A lot of school problems, extreme poverty, which is about par for the course. Though he's terribly bright and he hasn't had a drink in about close to 14 years now. He quit drinking when I started. And for a long time, I blamed my drinking on him. And I don't know, he's never been to an AA meeting. And maybe if he came to an AA meeting, he'd be drunk. I don't know. He's different. He gets tied up in different things he does. I had 2.5 years sobriety one time. I'll be 31 years old next month. I had 2.5 years sobriety once when I was 25. Without AA, and it was hell. I thought he did it, I could do it, etc. Anyway, I didn't know how bad. John Brackett always says how sneaky, cunning, baffling, the alcohol is. And I believe this to be true for the simple fact that when I quit drinking, I was immobile. I couldn't do anything. I studied philosophy, religion, I don't know, other things, psychology, and I thought I had a real grip on myself and on a lot of other things in the sense that alcoholics were dumb, the program Alcoholics Anonymous. They weren't intellectual, they weren't this, they weren't that, etc. After that 2.5 year sobriety, I planned on going, getting drunk. But when I got drunk, what I was going to do was get drunk, not black out, not get in any trouble. I planned that, fantastically well. Anyway, I just drank beer. I had control over my mind, knew how thick my tongue got. After each drink, and this was after 2.5 years sober, and, a lot of books, a lot of bullshit is what it was. And I woke up the next morning, looked out in the driveway, my head thumping. It's like it was, a dream world again. Looked out the driveway, the car was gone. Same story all over again. Didn't know what happened. Just didn't know. Luckily, I'd run into my cousin, and he knew we used to drink together when I was drinking all the time before that. From 17 to about 24, 25, I drank all the time. I tried to quit drinking since I started. I took my first pledge in a Catholic church. I was born and raised Catholic when I was about either late 17 or just turned 18, tore up a bar, and I don't know, I was getting in a lot of trouble. And when I went to see the priest, I was pretty small in those days, and he looked at me, and I guess he didn't think I was, capable of it. I didn't tear up a bar, They left me tear it up, But cops got me, and I don't know, some other people that I knew happened to come by in a car, and they got me. Anyway, I went down to take the pledge, and the priest said, I'll let you take it for 1 week. And 1 week only. Go to baseball games, things like this. So, all right, so I took it the week, I guess. I don't remember if I kept it or not. But I went to ball games. I'd done everything else I was supposed to do, but I got drunk there, too. It was just, I don't know, continuously drinking. For me, it was a great escape. It was like, I don't know, it was dreams that, things I didn't have to face. But from the first time on, boy, I'll tell you, it was hell. And anyway, I took a series of pledges. I started when I was 17 and a half. I started out to get drunk, and I got drunk all the time. Went in the Army when I was 20. The days before I went in the Army, I don't know, I remember a year after. I'd taken several pledges in the meantime. I had gotten a car wreck another time when I was 18 years old out in Meander Dam. I wrecked my car and lost it in the trees out there, was lost in there all night. Didn't get out until 7 o'clock the next morning when it got daylight. And matter of fact, I walked around with the road right there. You know, I didn't know because it was dark and I was drunk, and I'm staggering around there like John Wayne in the movies or Jungle Jim, you know. And there was the road there all the time. But I got out and couldn't find the car when I did get out. Didn't know where I was at. Couldn't orient myself. I ran into some guys fishing illegally down there, you know, over the bridge, and one of them took me home. I called a cousin of mine and told him I'd run my car in a ditch. I didn't have the slightest idea where it was at. And, you know, we just started driving around. We couldn't find it anywhere. And finally, we was coming along the stretch of road, and I saw that the fence was all tore out. So I said, you know, maybe it's back in there. And he said, no, you know, it's ridiculous. But I got out and I ran back, and there it was, way down by the lake, about 10 feet from the lake. I tore down a 57-foot of fence, I think went 290 feet down one of those fire trails, and then into the trees. But I got away with that. I lost my license for a month, I think. Anyway, series of small trouble. I couldn't keep a job then either. I didn't realize this until I've been sober this time now, about a year and 7 months, you know. Some of the real hang-ups I had. I'm becoming aware of them now. With sobriety and AA, you know, possibly can change them. But, well, anyway, I got in a lot of trouble before I went in the Army. 2 days before I went in the Army, I got in another car accident. And they had a list of charges, hit, skip, drunken driving, you know, just fantastic. It made a fool of myself and fighting the police, you know, all kinds of things. And the judge said, because you're going in the Army, I'll take your license for a year, reduce all charges, you know, that we had made, etc. But I don't want to catch you, you know, drinking and driving when you come home, or driving, period, when you come home on leave. Because if you do, you know, I'll throw you in jail for 500 days or some such thing. I don't know. But I was gone to basic training for 2 months. Come home, got bombed. I was with a cousin of mine, and we were out, and I stole a car and drove it home in my driveway. And I woke up the next morning, and my aunt, she said, get the car, you know, out of the driveway. I said, what car? And, you know, I didn't know. I went out and I searched through it, and the ignition wires were tore out and all kinds of things. And I swear to God, my old man owns a garage and a body shop. But if I had a flat tire right now, I'd just call the guy from the gas station. I just, you know, I don't bother with it. I don't know nothing about it. So somebody must have been in on that with me. I guess, I don't know. But I had swore that when I wrecked my car, that 2 days before I went in the Army, just 2 months prior to that somebody had stole the car. I used to play in a band. I was in this place drinking. I had my guitar and things. And I said that I swore they had about 8 different hit skip charges on me. That somebody else had swiped the car, brought it back, and I took it. And on the same night that I stole the car, drove it home in my driveway, I'd run into the kid who was with me that night, and he said, hell yeah, you wrecked it. You know, I didn't remember. I mean, it was demolished, but I was driving it when the cops picked me up. But anyway, my mother talked to me, and up to this time I had taken pledges. I couldn't tell you how many. None of them longer than a month. The priest would never let me take them for longer than that. And I don't even remember if I kept any. I might have kept one. She tried to talk. My godfather of mine had taken a pledge for 2 years, and I guess he kept it for most of the 2 years. They thought this was the answer. I don't know. But I had lost all hope that I would ever quit drinking. I have an uncle who's in Massillon. And he's been there about 15 years this time. I went up to see him a few months ago. And I remember him when I was a little kid. He was about my age now. And he looked healthy, normal, etc. But if you go up and see him now, I mean, he's a vegetable. He's nothing. And he'd been at several times, you know, through the years, and this time he's up there for good, and he just lost all hope, no hope gone. But my mother talked me into taking a pledge, and these were always good. The scrapes I was getting in always, when you go before judges, etc., it's always kind of nice, you know, to let them know you're trying to quit drinking, though you know you're not going to. You know, I took a pledge, judge, or whatever. And anyway, I got to Texas, Fort Hood, Texas. I was glad to get out of town that night. They had that, stolen car in the paper and all that. But anyway, I got to Texas, and I was there maybe a week or two, and I decided I'd had it one day, and I said, piss on it, and the pledge, and boom, out I went. Got bombed, woke up the next day with my lips split open and stitches all over. I got in a fight with some guys who were sitting over there, and I called them names, and they waylaid me in an alley and tarred and feathered me. And anyway, several times in the Army, I don't know, pledges are a big part of my story, I guess. Because like I say, I really tried to quit since I started, but I didn't know that you couldn't take one. I took a 2-beer pledge. I think 2 beers a day. I think it lasted 2 days, too. That was about it. And then I got drunk and I tore up a church. And I don't know, I lost all faith in priests and everything, but when I tore up that church, the MPs got me, and they had me before from that fighting thing. But we left for the field that morning, and I had a copy of the New Testament with me that morning, and I don't know, I was all hung over, and I thought I was going to Stockade, because, I don't know, it was a lot of trouble. And I thought I had a religious experience. Now, like I look on it today, well, it was an emotional experience of some kind, but, I thought, wow. And I think when we got back, I apologized to the priest and everything, found out I wasn't going to jail, nothing. I didn't get anything out of it. It was good. I tried going to church and communion, but I'd still, drink. I didn't know that, don't take the first one, you can't get drunk. It's impossible. I kept getting drunk continuously while I was in the Army, and it got to be a real thing with the church. It got to be so I didn't even feel too guilty about that because I was busting in there all the time after that, But I don't know, there were times, like in my mind, it wasn't funny. Crying, holding crosses and things, to try to quit drinking, and, nothing ever came or happened. I just kept getting drunk. And priests would keep telling me to take pledges, and these pledges would keep getting me out of trouble, and it was, and then one time the priest wanted me to see a psychiatrist, one priest. I had agreed to get out of some trouble, but after I was out of trouble, I said no, and then he wanted to get me out of the infantry. I was in the infantry outfit. Into the ministry, typewriter and that, and then I decided against it, after I was out of trouble. It was a series of troubles, series of drunks. 11 days before I got out of the Army, I got in trouble again, and I got busted. And they had to send the sergeant of the guard to get me, and me and a bunch of other guys were drunk. And anyway, I guess the old man, the company I was with at the time, didn't figure it was worth doing anything to me. I only had 11 days to go, so he just let me go, and I got out. But I remember when I come home on leave, or come home from the Army, when I got discharged, my mental attitude, my outlook when I was coming home on the bus, I had such despair that it was peaceful, that I already knew what was going to happen to me. I had no doubts. I was going to get out, I was going to get a job, and I was going to buy a car, and I was going to get drunk, and I was going to smash it up and kill somebody, and I was going to go to jail for good. That's it. Absolutely no hope. That's it. But it really was, a fantastic, a sense of peace. It really, there were times when I got drunk that I didn't have remorse. Anyway, after I got out, I did get a job. I came in contact with AA by, I got a job at Jones and Laughlin in Niles, and I had missed a lot of days' work. And I talked my aunt, or I think it was, into the same one that hit me when I stole the car, into taking me to the AA clinic. I also have an aunt, a whole family of alcoholics. But taking me to the clinic, I remember taking her there once. So anyway, I got up there, and I got up the next morning, and I saw these guys who was over on Lincoln Avenue shaking. I was 22 then. And I says, I don't belong in here. No way. And I told Jim Stevenson, I went out, give me my clothes. He did, and John Brackett talked to me, and there was a priest there, and they talked to me, and I said, I'll take another pledge. And they says, he's a priest, and he can't take a pledge and keep it. What are you going to do? Well, anyway, I think I did. I took another. But that very night, though, I remember this, sitting in a bar in Niles with a couple of my buddies and saying, you will never guess where I was at last night. With a bunch of alkies, boy, and they all belong here too now. You know, a lot of them I know still out there. They don't know. But since I've come in contact with the program, I've managed to gather a lot of sobriety. I did, you know, like a month here, a month there, 2 months here. Up to age 25, there was a week time, there was a job I played in the band. I started playing in the band after a while. And that was a winter. I remember one job I played for 7 months, and I drew one paycheck, one. And after that, I had a steady bar bill of $200 and over. For about 7 solid months. Boy, that was a bummer. It was, that was the closest I ever come to DTs, was during that period. I did end up in Woodside my first time during that period. Lied to him, told him I'm on dope, and told him I'm, you know, mainliner and everything else, you know. But I got out of there, got drunk again, and I don't know, I got to the point, I started making jail pretty regular, and I started becoming a binge drinker. And since I've been 25, I've been a binge drinker, period. Since I was 25, if I wouldn't have I had 3 slips in the last 5 years, and they were winners. This time my sobriety is different than it was. I don't know how it worked. I became active in the AA program. I started a meeting, which is closed now, but last Sunday. But through that meeting, I got some insight into AA that I never had before in all the years that I've been around the program. I tried some of my ideas, and I saw, you know, the ones that were bad and the ones that were good and why they didn't work, etc. And I got active in AA. The 2.5 years that I had sober, I didn't do any work. I tried to be a writer at that time and done a lot of studying, like I said. But the sneakiness of alcohol, how bad it had me. I couldn't talk to people. It's like all my jokes, everything was alcohol. You know, like it's hard to explain, but like I was completely isolated for 2.5 years. When I came off the drunk, you know, I made the rounds at the saloons to see the guys, you know, and it was, you know, wow, where you been? You know, you don't see him except when he comes out to get drunk, and then he goes back in his hole, you know. And anyway, I went on 3 tears during that period. I went on a 6-week drunk, the one where I had complete control over the alcohol, you know. And I ended up 6 weeks later in jail, told that I killed a cop. And that day I was feeling good that day. I think I had 10 beers, and a buddy of mine, and we was going to go up to Conneaut. I figured as long as I was on this drunk, I might as well have some fun. And I was waiting for him to come and get me, and another guy come in and asked me if I wanted to smoke. He had some hashish, and we got a fifth, I think, a piece of wine or something, I don't know. And we were smoking a hash. Next thing I knew, I woke up in jail. And everybody's free in the range next day except me. I'm locked in my cell, and I don't know what's happening. I know that when you're locked up, something bad is wrong. And it was a joke, it turned out. And when I found out it was a joke, I wasn't even pissed off. But for 11 hours, I thought it was true that I had killed a cop. See, I was told that I killed a cop. And, boy, I can't tell you the thoughts going through my mind at that time. Here, I don't even know how it happened. I was happy. I was going to Conneaut Lake. I was going to have some fun, and here I am, you know. Well, what happened, I told the turnkey that he had an IQ about 3 above plant life or something, and he didn't like it, and he decided to keep me locked up, which he did. And I got out, and 2 guys from AA, I figured I might as well give them a call. The reason I quit that 2.5 years, I got thrown in a padded cell in the county jail in Warren, and I had known enough about AA to know that that's it. That's it. I quit. I was playing in the band at the time, teaching in the music store. I quit everything. Without the alcohol, I didn't know how to live. I made up my mind that I was going to learn to play the guitar just good enough that I could make as much money as I did when I was in the mill, which I did, and as soon as I got it, I quit it. And I was out. That's a thing I discovered about myself this time since I was sober. You know, keeping what I get. Christ. During that, I came off of that 6-week drunk. I got out of jail, and I contacted AA again. 2 fellows came down to see me. One of them I haven't heard of in a long time, but the next drunk I went on, he had a slip too. But their hearts were definitely in the right place, but I still had a lot of these things in me, and I did definitely become an atheist beyond any doubt in my mind whatsoever. And I got to tell you, loneliness of soul, there's nothing like it. I remember he was talking the God thing to me, and I had recently, read a lot of books, right? So I was filled with a lot of wisdom. And about 3 months later, I ended up on a 7-week drunk, which culminated in jail too. And I remember that was bad news because, like I sold whatever I had left during that drunk, I sold, and it got to the point where, I was a fool. I was panhandling downtown from my friends, which was bad because before, like different times in my life when I, was on one, I'd borrow 5 or 10, but I'd pay it back. But this time I was bumming quarters and I was bumming dimes. For 7 solid weeks, I started out drinking. I figured up, I think it cost me $7 a day to get drunk, and I was panhandling, which is like $49 a week I had to come up with. And Snarls is a small town anyway. There aren't that many people to panhandle off of, so you got to hit the same ones, at the same time. And, I was hitting them 4 and 5 times and starting off with 5 and then 1 and then, nickel, dime, quarter. And walk in the pool room down there and they'd back off, here he comes. And today, I don't like to go down there today. I don't like to see him. Because I don't get a look of, laughter now, like, hey, you was on one, It's pity when I walk down. If I don't even go down there. I don't. Because I get a look of pity now. It was like, I was on a drunk for so long. I was crying all the time. I had hair, long hair, but the guy for a few drinks cut it all off. Said he was going to give me a trim if you buy me a few drinks. And what he done, he cut me bald on the one side, and I thought that was great. And I don't know, half drunk, half mad, half thinking it was funny if I'd walk downtown with half my hair down here and nothing here, which is the way it was. And, for a few more drinks. But anyway, it ended up with in jail again, and the remorse, the hell. I'll tell you, I didn't believe in nothing. And I don't know. Anyway, I got out of jail. The judge gave me some probation, used probation, because it was a couple times in a couple periods. Anyway, I went on my last drunk about 3 months after that. Hope to God I never go on another one. My grandmother had died, and I was watching TV, watching a dog. Everybody was gone to the funeral, and I decided I'd go up to the neighborhood tavern, get smashed, stagger in the ditch, fall down, sleep the next day, I'm all right. The judge had told me if he caught me in town drunk within the next year period, he was going to give me 30 days or whatever. So, talk about control over alcohol. I planned on getting drunk at the neighborhood tavern. No muss, no fuss. I went up there and I had 3 beers. 3. Tongue got that thick, and I was downtown. That's how much control I have. 3 beers and I'll do anything, Just like that, and I did get thrown in jail that night. And the judge did give me 30 days or whatever it was. And it ended up, he left me out to go to the funeral the next day, and I stopped in Joseph's Grill. And the bartender there was a friend, a hell of a good guy, because, boy, during that 7-week drunk, when I didn't have no money, every morning he fixed me up with some dark port so I could talk, go downtown. And anyway, I stopped there to get a couple to get straightened up to go to my grandmother's funeral, and I didn't get to the funeral. I got bombed. And I don't know, I got home and I got in a fight, and this time I believe I was, as many times I threatened suicide, I believe I'd have killed myself this night. I believe it was it. As long as I've been sober now, the longer I'm sober, the more I believe at that time that was it. I had absolutely no hope. There was a lot of things I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to do. I can see now, without alcohol. It's so sneaky, and it has you. I don't know. It just gets inside you that you don't know that your whole life is really wrapped up around it, whether you like it or not. So everything you do is alcohol related. Take it away and you're lost. See? I ended up in Woodside. I got in a fight at home, and my brother held me down. And I don't know, it's kind of foggy, but I remember they called the ambulance to take me to Woodside, and then those guys started humoring me. And then when I got there, they're humoring me. And I'm trying to tell them I'm not crazy. And the more I do that, the more sure. They give you one of them numbers. And anyway, they had all this down. I talked to the doctor that morning. And he said, okay, I'll let you go Monday. I think that was on a Friday. So Monday I left. I can't remember the sequence of events here, but I had sold everything I had had in the meantime, ever had. The last drunk I was on, I had sold one. Before that, I sold my watch for $5. My ring, it was a good ring my mother had bought me. Worth, I suppose, $100, $150, somewhere around there, for $3. I had sold all my good equipment, musical equipment. I had over $1,000 at one time. You know, it disintegrated down to, I remember, one $15 guitar I had. I smashed up, and I remember coming to, this was after that 2.5 years sober, at a party. 2 other people sitting in the lawn, me and another person, who was drinking now. I hope he's doing all right, though, but we were with the strings of my guitar and the neck in the fire, keeping warm, you know. So, I don't know. Anyway, I managed to get a hold of another one, but I sold that, and I was going to go. I stopped, if I remember right, I stopped at the club. I was going to go. I got out of Woodside. I was going to go to Arizona or someplace. And I talked to Jack and up there, and he talked about, I don't know, the clinic or whatever. Halfway house. I talked to Jim Stevens down halfway. Anyway, they took me back to jail. I'd made up my mind I was going, and I couldn't get a ride to the bus station that night up in Youngstown. So I went to bed, and when I woke up, the cops had been there and said, you know, we want you back in jail. So I went back to jail. And in the meantime, the money I'd sold to take the geography cure, the judge says, you know, we'll let you out of jail if you pay the fine. So that was that. When I got out of jail, my parents didn't want me to come home anymore, which I don't blame them. And I don't know, I went up to halfway house. When I got there, I was there a week, and I was ready to leave. Before a week was up. In fact, several times, I think Bob Wayne maybe. I remember some of his reverse psychology. You know, if I was as miserable as you, I'd go get drunk. And, you know, he'd say that way. And I knew what he was trying to do, too. You know, but it made sense. You know, like, where in the hell else am I going to go? This is it. I was 29, and I really thought that, you know, my life was masculine, too. Like my uncle, I have no power of choice. If I stay sober, no matter what I work for, no matter what I achieve, the day is coming when I'm going to get drunk, and I'm going to smash up a car, and I'm going to end up there. It's simple as that, you know, or some institution of some kind. Well, I was at the halfway house. I don't know. I ended up staying there 5 months and 2 weeks. I believe today that was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. A lot of psychological changes occurred. I don't know, you know, like a series of things happened. I found out that more about AA. I'd been around the program for a few years, but I found out more about it, and I knew for sure that I wasn't going to make it without people. I did not believe, or I tried to believe, but I didn't believe in any higher power. There was nothing, period. But yet I kept rationalizing to think that there was a God, or maybe there was, I don't know, you know, just kept asking. Then it dawned on me, I think Bob told me, you can't rationalize alcohol. I don't know why, but all of a sudden it hit me. All I've got to do is not think about it. Work the AA program, simple as that. And I can live to be 500 years old and never, ever take another drink, simple as that, one day at a time. When I got out of the halfway house, I knew that I wasn't going to make it without people. When I decided I was going to leave there, no way could I make it without people. I started using slogans, you know, that, or phrases, taping up on my wall and different things that just, I don't know, keep them going. One day at a time, you know, a lot of the AA cliches, but like in the faces of men and women, I see God. Walt Whitman, because it's like, he's too much to grasp philosophically. You can't rationalize him. It's the same as, in my mind anyway, with alcohol. You just can't rationalize it. Forget about it and believe, or, you know, whatever you're going to do. But you're fighting a losing battle if you try to reason it out. Try to reason out strength that way. Anyway, I went on a religious retreat over last Christmas time and got active in AA, and John Brackett got me to lead a couple of meetings, and I don't know, I was chairman of a couple of meetings, and I tried to make as many meetings as I could a week. I probably made, I don't know, an average of 3 or 4 just about every week, and managed to acquire a year of college, which at 20